up, guys? My name is Courtney Budson, and this is What's for Din. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make sweet potato hamburger buns. I promised you in my last episode that I would show you guys how to make this simple recipe. It is time consuming, but I'm telling you, it is so worth it. These buns are so fluffy and delicious. It's the perfect sweet comparison to a nice, juicy, salty burger, and it is absolutely delicious. So without further ado, let's get it started. You're gonna need some water at 115 degrees, some yeast, brown sugar, and you're also gonna need some sweet potato, of course. I went ahead and peeled these, boiled these, and mashed them, and let them cool so that you're not gonna interfere with any of the eggs and like cook the eggs while you're mixing it in. You're also gonna need an egg and then some melted butter. Don't leave these two out, those are really important. You're also going to need some flour. Now I'm using bread flour. You can definitely use all-purpose flour if that's all you have, but bread flour has a higher protein content, which means that there's gonna be more gluten development, and that means it's gonna be a lot more airy and fluffy than what you would get with a regular all-purpose flour. So the first thing we wanna do is activate our yeast and make sure that it's alive and working, because if you don't have working yeast, then you don't have a good bread. And it was at this very moment that my microphone decided to poop out on me and no longer work. So the rest of this is going to be done in voiceover mode. I hope that's okay. So anyway, to your water that's 115 degrees, no more or no less, you want to add a little bit of that brown sugar and your yeast. The brown sugar is going to help feed the yeast and it will bloom a lot quicker. So you want to wait until it gets nice and foamy. It'll take about 5 minutes. So once it's activated, you can go ahead and transfer that to a standing mixer. Add the rest of the brown sugar, your melted butter, your mashed up, cooled down sweet potato, and of course your egg. And then just give that a quick mix. Now we can start adding our flour. Now when it comes to adding your flour, you want to do it in increments. I usually do about a half a cup to a cup at a time. And you want to keep kneading this until you get a smooth, not sticky, but slightly tacky dough. Now I can't tell you an exact measurement as to how much flour you're actually going to need. It really depends greatly on the humidity in the air, the products that you used, and a whole bunch of other scientific things. So you really just want to keep adding more and more flour until it pulls away from the sides of the bowl without being really sticky. So now that the hardest part is done, you want to put this in a slightly oiled bowl, making sure that the dough is nice and oiled so it doesn't develop a crust. Then cover it with a kitchen towel, and you want to let this rise until it doubles in size. It could take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. And you can go do whatever your little heart desires because you don't have to do anything at this point except for wait. And I know it seems like such a long time to wait for some hamburger buns, but let me tell you, you haven't had the best burger until you've had it with these buns. Guaranteed.
Don't want none unless you got buns, hun.
So once it gets to the point where it's like bursting out of the bowl, you can punch it down and release all that air. Then take it right out of the bowl and put it on a lightly floured surface. Now I just use my hands for this. You can use a rolling pin if you want, but it's just easier just to not dirty any additional dishes. But using my hands, I just keep pressing it and stretching it until I make it into somewhat of a rectangular shape. And as best as I can, I chop it into 4 equal pieces. And then those pieces I cut in half again. And it's at this point you want to start making your balls, buns, whatever they are. So taking each piece, I dust a little bit of the flour off of the bottom, and then I fold it onto itself just to make sure it's a nice circular shape. Roll it around in my hands, and then place it on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Now as you can totally tell, they're different sizes, and you can make them smaller or bigger depending on what size burger you plan on making. You could make these sliders, you can make these normal sized burgers, or you can make these ginormous sized burgers. I won't judge you. You can even make this into a sub bun, which you can see that I tried and attempt to do here. Once they're all made up, you want to go ahead and let those rise again for another 45 minutes at least until they've almost doubled in size. Once the 45 minutes are up, make sure you pat down each of the tops of them so that they're not totally balls and they come out actual buns, because you don't want them to be completely circular. Then hit them with a little bit of egg wash and of course some sesame seeds, because you can't have a hamburger bun without some sesame seeds on top. It's obviously just for aesthetic purposes only. Then throw them in a 400-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're nice and golden brown, not burnt. Key words there, not burnt. Nobody likes it when their buns get burnt, okay? It's a known fact. Ooh, and here's the best part. Ooh, look at those. They're so golden and delicious looking. Now you want to let them cool a little bit before you cut them so you don't burn your little fingers off like I do. But a really cool trick when you do cut them, first of all, make sure you use a bread knife. But I have a plate that has high sides on it, and I just rest my knife right against the edge of the plate, and I use that to guide my knife so that I don't end up cutting the burgers crooked. Other than that, these are ready to go. For the sake of taste testing these, I'm just gonna eat them as is. If you wanted to, you can just omit the sesame seeds and you have an amazing roll on your hands. Top it with some melted butter. So good. It's so soft and pillowy. It's like you literally put a cloud and shoved it in your mouth. So if you guys want to recreate this recipe, just look below in the description box. I'll have all the measurements as well as the written instructions. And if you did like this video, don't forget to smack that like button as well as share it, because it helps me out so much when you guys share this video with other people. It helps spread the word so I don't have to do my other job anymore. Also, I just wanted to apologize. I know I've been MIA for quite some time. I've had some personal health issues of my own and some family things going on. So I'm very sorry. I am back and hopefully here to stay. And as always, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, miss, huh? Yes.